On to the part Pro Skater 2X. This time we're going through the Pro Skater 1 levels of Tony Hawk. And this is going to go so fucking fast that you're going to have a hard time catching up. Because seriously, these are very damn short. Power objectives, getting all the gaps. Even though there's no gap checklist here either, unfortunately. And I will go through with many of the other skaters haven't done yet and what have you. So, at the very least, you'll see more people show up. And yes, I will count the bullshit. Now, if you thought that the gaps when it came to the 2X levels were, not very well checked, the Pro Skater 1 levels are worse. Right off the bat, in fact, you're already noticing that one such gap, the transfer, doesn't exist here. It's in the book, and it was already in the original Pro Skater 1 game, but here, it's missing. And because we are basically taking everything from the book as gospel, because it's the only evidence we have, this is meaning that, unfortunately, there's going to start being some levels, because of Pro Skater 1, where we're going to have just missing gaps. Because shit just doesn't exist. It's fucked. It's sad. Also, I got that I actually get inside, so that hitbox is very big. But, ultimately, this is one of the bad news of the entire thing. Just the fact that the gaps here are genuinely not fucking play-tested and are kind of broken. Which is sad, because one of the big things about Pro Skater 2X is that it's really given us a updated version of Pro Skater 1. This is the first remaster of Pro Skater 1. And they kind of fucked it already. Because, yeah, we're going to be missing one gap by the end of this. Right now, I will show at the very least that, yes, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 does not have any gap checklist either. To be fair, it never had in the original, and there are some gaps that are changed and missing and what have you from the original game, so ultimately, in the future, if I reach to a certain threshold, I may come back and do proper checklists for that one, but for now, I'm going to go through and show what I can from here. Some of this grind, when you jump off the taxi, you don't get the taxi gap. Then you want to go ahead and just, do a wall ride all the way across to here for the face plant. Once you've done that, go ahead and jump off that balcony to the rail for deck to rail. Then you want to go ahead and make a jump from this kicker all the way to this platform to get the kick at the ledge. Then you want to go ahead and just get, a nice little grind and then drop down in order to get the fucking monster rail, I think it is. High rail, sorry. And then the monster grind at the very end. And then after that, you want to go ahead and do a bit of a jump all the way to this platform to the taxi in order to get the taxi to the ledge, do a bit of grind. Then you want to go ahead and do a jump from the half pipe all the way across over here to get the transition grind. Then lastly, you want to jump from the taxi over into the big rail over there in order to get the taxi to rail. It's a bit awkward to get it, but you can get it. Also, we're now in school now because, yes, 15 out of 16, we're missing transfer. I can't fucking get it. You see me try to get it. It does not register at all. I have tried for a long fucking time. There are going to be gaps like this. And school is a bigger mess than warehouse. But for now, we go about it how we usually go about it. We take a jump from here, and we get our gimme gap. And now, we'll take care of all the score shit first, and then the skate letters, and then the fucking tables, and of course the tape. Now, because of the fact that this is using, Pro Skater 2, controls basically, everything is faster compared to Pro Skater 1, and obviously everything looks to be a lot bigger. Like, we're kind of more tiny now compared to how this looked beforehand. It really does showcase just the size difference between Pro Skater 1 and 2. But ultimately, we're still able to reach a lot of this shit, so not a big deal. And, yes, school is still very much the same as it usually is. There's nothing really to, talk about of school. I do believe that this will be the first time we get to see the gym proper, though. Without having to do any kind of weird shit to get in. And, yeah, for the most part, a lot of the gaps do exist here. And Except, let's just say that there are some gaps that you'd think wouldn't be that big of a deal to get, but there's a lot of one specific gap, and these specific gaps that we need to get, they don't want to appear. They don't want to fucking appear at all. And these specific gaps that do appear, they get kind of in the way and distract you. And in fact, the guidebook literally has 2 fucking gaps that are named the exact same thing. One has hyphens in it, the other doesn't. It's rail to rail. There are 2 rail to rails, exactly in fucking name. Just hyphens between in there instead of spaces for one of them. And they're in different places, but there is no rail to rail. There is instead a rail to rail transfer, which is another gap the book mentions. So, yeah, it's fucked. And you're about to see how fucked it is. For instance, there's a bit of a gap here to get the mini gap. Then you want to go ahead and just literally just do anything. Oh, sorry, I have to do the jump across here to get the over a foot bridge. But literally just do any kind of these sort of grinds, and you will get rail to rail transfer. You're going to see how many spots give you this. It's stupid. Right now, though, grind across over to here, and you will get huge rail. After that, you want to go ahead and do this bit of a grind here to get the dumpster grind. Dumpster rail gap, sorry. And then I go too fast for me to react, but ultimately you already know this is going to be like the dumpster hop, I think. Garbage ollie, sorry. And then we have the inside, the gym. You would think there'd be some kind of a gap here or something for the gym. There are 0 gaps in here. There's 0 anything for the most part. Like, there's some fans around that move, and there's some set dressing, but ultimately there's not much to go for. And this ramp, because the roof is so low down for the most part, you get that ramp, you can hit the roof every fucking time. No matter goddamn what, because it's so low down. It's kind of dumb. It's kind of dumb. Anyway, do a bit of a jump over here for the ditch slap. Then you want to go ahead and just jump across this little bit of a transfer here for the park gap. Then you want to go ahead and just grind this entire bit all the way down, and you will get the long-ass rail. After that, you want to go ahead and jump off this kicker to get to the grind, and you will end up with the fun box to rail transfer. After that, you want to go ahead and just grind these planters for the planter gap. And then you want to go ahead and just, just check out the fact that this is also a rail-to-rail transfer. Just to get that out of the way. And then you want to go ahead and just grind this entire wall here from start to finish in order to get the playground rail. And then after that, you'll want to go ahead and just jump from the kicker down into a ground on the bench in order to get the fun box to table transfer. Then you want to jump across these 2 rooftops over here in order to get the roof-to-roof gap and something else when you get to this jump over here. And then you want to go ahead and make a big-ass jump from this pool up to the other pool, and you will end up getting the swim team gap. So no trick gap here, by the way, just keep that in mind. And here is another moment of rail-to-rail transfer. You can see how different these are, and yet they're all the same fucking gap. Anyway, do a big jump across them here, and you will get the over the air conditioner. Then I'm going to go ahead and show you this interesting little bit here. This is a mini gap. We already got the mini gap, though. What the fuck? Anyway, then I'm going to go ahead and do a bit of an awkward gap here. You won't recognize this one, but we have to not jump and get this grind in order to actually get the whole pass gap. If you jump, it won't fucking count. And now, I'm going to go ahead and do this massive-ass grind from right over here all the way through. You might think, is this going to be a different gap as well? No, it's going to be the fucking long-ass rail again. What the fuck is going on? And then you go ahead and do, this little big old fucking grind here. This is also what the guide tells you to do in order to get a specific gap. Except it never triggers. You never get this at all. So it doesn't fucking exist. Anyway, this does exist, however. And it's our final gap, fun box to rail transfer. 22 out of 26. Here is another description the game says for a different one. It's a rail-to-rail transfer. Fuck you, game. What the fuck are you doing? Anyway, Mole is next, and luckily from here, the gaps start to have some fucking control of themselves now. Because literally, like, Also, gotta get the dick in here. We gotta get the dick in here, okay? If we don't get the dick in here, what the fuck are we doing with our lives? Anyway, basically, this is gonna be a very straightforward one, because it's a bit of a downhill map, really. Like, ultimately, when you get over to that exit that's usually there, it does act as an exit. It will end the run, so that is still gonna be a thing. Just keep that in mind. But, ultimately, not a hard challenge. I already got the score done right off the beginning. So all I'm doing here is getting the skate letters, getting the livery shit out of the way. And I did want to go through and actually get the tape, but I overshot it. There is also the car, and in the original there was a car hop that you can get. The car hop does not exist in this version of the map. I don't know why, but there is no car hop now. But that's fine, because for the most part, a fair amount of the gaps are still here. So there is that. But, yeah, I got all the directories, I get all of the letters, and I try to make a big jump, but I fuck it up. But don't worry, I go into the parking lot, and yes, it counts as an exit. No glass here, though, just an opening. Don't worry, we'll go back and get rid of the tape, but right now, here's me getting this little transfer here called the Fountain Gap. Pretty easy. Anyway, I use a grind here to get this one done. There we go. Now just go ahead, jump for the tape. And there you go. Now it's time to take care of all of the fucking gaps, because after we take care of this and end the run, we can go ahead and save. 15 tapes collected. We're getting there now. So let's take care of the fucking gaps. The usual shit I usually go for, which is going for the rail combo and then the coffee grind. And then you go ahead and jump across this entire staircase in order to get the infamous over 16 stair set. Then transfer these two elevators to get going down gap and going up gap. All good lineup there for a bunch of gaps. Next up, do a bit of these grinds over here to get the planter gap. And then once you got that out of the way, go ahead and grind this entire side of the wall. Either one will do, all the way from one end to the other, and you will get for the whole atrium. Next up, you want to go ahead and just make a big old jump down the staircase here in order to get the over a huge 32 stair gap. Then you want to go ahead and jump across this escalator here in order to get the skater escalator gap. And then you want to go ahead and jump right off here, get the flying leap. Now, you can't land this with the fucking, you know, falling drop thing. Or you can use this grind to the side in order to get around from the bullshit that you're going to be getting. Either way, land it and you're good to go. And last, to get a lot of fucking speed and do a late boneless, get the first two sets off of mezzanine. And if you want to land that shit, luckily you can, just do a wall ride instead across it. And that's it, that's Mole. Pretty basic. And yes, that's all the gaps there. So now it's time for Chicago. And Chicago, at the very least, is going to be interesting, or skate park as you want to call it. For the most part, it's going to be straightforward as all shit. Treyarch's name is there instead of having music videos. Thanks, Treyarch. But, yeah, the ultimate, you know, usual shit's here. HP transfer. Also, not a lot of fucking gaps. But, hey, transfer is here now. A working transfer. Holy shit, guys. And, of course, we always gotta do this. The big jump to the grind up here for the light grind. Always gives enough of the big points. We don't really need it anymore for the most part because we can manual. We couldn't manual in the first game. But still, you know, might as well go for it, you know? If we can fucking land it. Jump over this wall, by the way, and get wall gap. But yeah, ultimately, for the most part, this is just Chicago. And it does have a lot of the gaps you would expect. And yeah, for the most part, there's not much else to it. Though I believe with this level, it actually has less than the original Pro Skater 1 did. I think it actually has, because Chicago and Pro Skater 1 apparently has 15 gaps. This is 13. So, there's less here. I don't know what Treyarch was doing when it came to gaps, honestly. Because they're a bit weird about it with Pro Skater 1. Sometimes they add gaps in, sometimes they remove it. I don't know what's happening here, but ultimately I get the whoop gap at the very least, so we got that out of the way, as well as over the box. And, yeah, for the most part, there are some, you know, the usual kind of gaps you would expect from this fucking level. But, yeah, for the most part, it's a contest, and it's a very easy contest. Just utilize that light grind up there, and you're gonna be fine. I don't think the score's gonna be that big of a deal. Like, you're gonna get it as long as you get a nice big combo from up there. Like, that's gonna give us a 99.9, no problem. And, yeah, that's basically the entirety of these levels so far. Because, again, we are speedrunning this shit, kind of. Also, over the pipe, there you go. And, yeah, for the most part, not much really to say, because we've already gone for a lot of the shit beforehand, and these are so fucking short, there's nothing to talk about here, outside of the gaps. Which, I can tell you right now, the gaps here are fucking ugly due to the fact that the guide and the game itself really didn't know what the fuck it was doing with this shit. Anyway, transfer across this bit here for the pull hip. You want to go ahead and just get all the way across this entire rafter here to get over the rafters. Then you want to go ahead and just jump across upward in order to get the pull to walkway. And then jump down to get the first ever acid drop. Yeah, it's a gap. And lastly, trans rights. AKA walkway rail trans, and then pull rail trans. Yeah, great joke, I know. Anyway, that is it for this entire part and for this set of levels. Next time, we're going to be going for the second part of the fucking set, which will be starting us up in downtown. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.